Okay, everybody, welcome back to actually, this is like a brand new episode. It's a subdivision, or what would we call it? Like, Let's Connect Now, your business, or what are we calling it again?
Your business resource.
Your business resource. I like that.
And you know what? I know that we don't introduce ourselves anymore, but we need to start introducing Valerie more so that people get used to it. So then later,
Well,
we don't have to do
why?
that. Because she's very special.
You know what? You are special, Val. You know what? So Valerie Rivas. We got Valerie Rivas. She is now one of the co-hosts here at Let's Connect Now. Your business resource.
Yes. Hey, we just came up with the name, right? But no, what these episodes are supposed to be about is being able to empower the business owner, being able to bring resources, and also different type of things that they could do so that they could scale up.
I like
So
that, yeah.
I'm excited for today's guest. He's actually a good friend of mine, and he's actually working for a really good cause. So I'm excited to share a little bit more about
No,
that.
I love it. And just the reason why, we've come to this partnership with you is because we know the resources that you have. We know, every time you're at networking events, you're a huge networker. You're big on that. And honestly, she gets on us about that too.
Yes,
So
she
share a little
does.
bit about our partnership and the reason why that you're here because of the resources you have.
No, yes, absolutely. And again, thank you again for the opportunity to be able to be involved and be able to still continue my mission, which is empower business owners and being able to scale them up and be able to continue their journey to their baby, right? 'Cause
Right.
every business for a business owner, I feel like, is their baby. Nobody knows their baby more than the parent, right? And so, yeah, the whole point of us getting together is to be able to, one, share the resources, bring in leaders, community leaders that are empowering and helping other business owners. And so I know that we've interviewed the Los Angeles Latino Chamber chairman, and he came and talked about how he's helping his community, the Latino community, be able to get some government contracts,
Right.
which is huge. So that's the whole goal of these episodes, is your business resource, to be able to empower the business owner, but then also bring resources to you so that you can scale up.
I love it.
And it's been wonderful for me. I mean, for myself, I've been to a lot of events with you and met some of your colleagues, and now they're walking in through the door, and it's kind of nice to put a face to the business and it, because it's all about the power of networking, right? You just never know what's in your own neighboring cities, what kind of resources people can tap into if they come across, a need.
No, yes, absolutely. So we definitely want to be able to share what's going on in our community. I know that there's some major events coming up that some of our audience should be present, especially if you're trying to get resources, trying to network with others, and also have your elevator pitch, right? So
Yes.
you never know who you're going to be in the elevator, right?
Yeah.
And so-
Elevator pitch.
Okay, Jared.
Keyword elevator pitch.
What is our elevator pitch?
We empower businesses. Really? You gonna put me on the spot?
Yes, empowering businesses.
I said it again then.
Finish it.
No, go.
Empowering
You really gonna put me on the spot?
businesses. See?
Wow.
Okay, we need to work on that.
Wow. No, I have two work wives.
Empowering businesses with endless opportunities.
Ooh, I like that.
That's
our
our
elevator
elevator
pitch?
And you didn't
pitch.
use ChatGPT.
No, I
And
did
last
not.
week we had
No, I
AI
did not.
expert.
Because way before AI and ChatGPT, that sign has been up there for almost 7 years.
It's been up there.
Yes.
Way before ChatGPT.
Yes.
But I'm excited, and like you said, we're going to be able. And you know what? And if anybody out there, business, if there is events and it coincides with what we're doing, we'd be more than welcome to go there on location, like we did for the Los Angeles Latino Chamber of Commerce event, the Expo event. We don't mind doing things like that as well. So just get in contact with Val as well with those type of scheduling with us and stuff, and we'll get out there and interview some businesses. But so who do we have today before we take our break?
Okay, so I know I'm always excited about who you bring in, but he's actually a good friend of mine, really good friend of mine, which, he's pretty much like family to me. But so are you, right?
Aw.
So Dan's not last week. Dan.
I mean, he's also family. Hey, if you think about it, you have family within the community, and that's
Yes.
why I love what I do, because I'm able to be out in the community and while still enjoying all the relationships that I'm around and
Yes.
still be able to help people together, right? So have a team of being able to empower business owners. But yes, my good friend Joaquin Barba is in today, and he works for a company called Chicanos por la Causa.
Yes.
Now, and I know you love that, right? 'Cause one of those
Well, he
podcasts
just
also,
he
but-
just understands the first word, Chicano. Por la causa, he does not. I had to tell him.
So it's Chicano for a cause if you translate
I
it in
love that,
English.
though.
But the great thing about this organization is they are huge out in Arizona, and there are something called the CDFI. If you're not familiar with the CDFI, you should get familiar with what CDFIs are, because you are able to get funding in the event that the bank is not able to fund you. CDFI stands for Community Development Financial Institutions. They are nonprofit lenders that are funded by, one, the government, and two, private companies such as U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and other private companies that contribute to the cause. As a small business owner, you should know that you are important to our economy. So you are actually employing most of the population. It's actually not Lowe's, Home Depot, it's not Bank of America, it's not U.S. Bank. It's actually you, the business owner. So it's to the government's best interest and everybody around, right, for us to be able to empower and being able to get them the lending that they need so that they can scale up and grow. So CDFI, get familiar. We're going to have...
I'm gonna get familiar with it too.
Yes,
and we're gonna learn more about it.
CDFIs.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we have our guest, like Valerie said. So take a look at our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Michael.
I'm Ralph.
Welcome to Munoz and Munoz.
Come check it out. Here at Munoz and Munoz, every case is important to us. Big or small, small or big, we're here to help you.
And here also, privacy is our #1 priority for all of our clients. So come check it out. Our #1 priority is serving the community. We want to give the best attorney service out there in the industry. We're here to help you. Please call us for any personal injury or criminal defense needs that you may need.
So thank you guys for visiting our firm. As you can see, I'm here, Michael's here, always ready to serve you guys for any questions. And please, do not hesitate to call us for anything you need. It could be the simple question, we're here for you. Y sí, hablamos español.
Shoulders, knees, and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. And eyes and cheeks and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes.
Affordable self-care from professional massage therapists and estheticians. It's what we do. Massage Envy, where better begins.
Hey everybody, I hope you guys are enjoying the show with Let's Connect Now. My name is Danielle Wood. I'm with Prospectors Federal Credit Union, a division of Certified Federal. You guys want to contact us regarding any banking needs or even auto loans and personal loans, feel free to contact me at any time. You can reach me at 909-396-9688 or 909-504-7371. I'm looking forward to talking and speaking with you all soon. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody, we are back. We are back, and I'm excited. I'm excited because I'm gonna say I love the way you dress, bro. I'm gonna say it
I
again.
appreciate that. Thank you. I like the compliments. Keep coming.
He tells everybody.
No,
about
I
that.
don't.
Oh, wait,
I
wait.
do not.
You did say that to Dan last
Yes,
year.
he did. Yes, he did. Right?
I don't feel as nice anymore.
Yeah. Welcome, Joaquin.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really
Thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
Well, yes, so definitely excited to have my good friend Joaquin here, Joaquin Barba with Chicanos por la Causa. And as I mentioned earlier, CDFIs, if you're not familiar, get familiar with them. And today he's going to share a little bit about his commitment to the community, what he's doing, and how he is helping business owners get access to capital. There's a large population in the business owners that were looking for access to capital. And if you are being declined from your bank or your lender, it doesn't mean that you're not entitled. You know how it's like you're entitled to compensation, right? It doesn't mean that you're not entitled to get a loan. It just means that you're probably at the wrong lender. So it's just all about finding the right one.
Well, I'm very curious to hear about that because I think that's probably one of the number one issues that a lot of Hispanic businesses overall, and I'm sure other businesses as well, not just Hispanic businesses, but that's always, that's the story of a lot of restaurants, believe it or not, that I hear, oh, the bank didn't lend, I didn't qualify, to get a loan from the bank. So they use a lot of their personal assets, like their home,
Right.
their savings, and it's sad to see because it only lasts so long.
It is, and this is an area where most of the people get service that is a lender or anybody that walks into a bank. This industry is ran by mostly people that don't speak Spanish. There's very few that actually speak Spanish or Latino, right? And for me, it's a big commitment because I like to help out my community, right? The reason why I walk into a business and if it's a client that speaks Spanish, I'll speak Spanish, right? And I love giving back to the community and helping them out, right? If I could help somebody, especially that is not having the right information, right, and at least helping them out with that, guiding them the right way, it's huge for me. And that's the reason when I first started, getting into in finance, right, that was one of my biggest things, helping my Latino people, especially the people that can't get the information or don't speak the language.
And I'm sorry, I like what you said right now because I've seen you do this a lot with a lot of people we've introduced you to as well. So it's a good thing where I don't like when you ask somebody for help and then they go, no, I can help you, but like you said, but I might not be able to help you, but I could direct you maybe to somebody that can. So I like that.
Yes, and I've been in the finance industry now for over 20 years. I know I look 21, but however,
You lied. No.
However, Joaquin has been able to help a lot of my clients, and with the background working for different financial institutions, over the years he's been able to help a lot of my clients in the event that I wasn't able to do it wherever I was at. So it's definitely been a blessing of having these organizations like Chicanos por la Causa. And one of the great things about Joaquin is he is the first to stomp ground here in Southern California. California is his baby. Like we were talking about babies earlier, right?
That's huge.
So
It is huge.
Yeah.
So they're, and you can tell us a little bit more about Chicanos por la Causa and what they're doing out in the Arizona state.
Of course. So, I mean, a little bit about me, right?
Yes.
I've been in finance for a long time. I started back in 2003, right? As a kid, I worked through multiple banks, worked my way through that, right? And actually, for the last about 15 years, I've been focused on just commercial, right? So that has been a huge thing for me, right? And I started in Huntington Park helping business clients, right? And then from there, I grew out of that and went into just the commercial space, brokering loans, and then I got a phone call once from someone that says, "Oh, we're from Chicanos por la Causa." I'm like, let me look into this, right? And it was huge because I sat down with them, right? And they're like, "Hey, we want to launch this in California."
Wow.
And I looked into it, and it's huge because of what they do in Arizona, right? That's where their headquarters are at. But when I went in there and I looked at what they do, it's not only the lending piece of what I represent. They do a lot for the community. There's a lot of programs that they help underserved communities, right? Especially they help people get jobs, right? And help them get interviewed, right? Housing, they do all that stuff, right? I'm not part of that, but I am part of the company that does that, right?
Right.
So
It's still big.
huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
So what they came to me is to start this, which I represent the piece called Préstamos, right? Which is the commercial lending side to them. And I decided to do it because it's a big thing to start in California, right? Especially in California, to have a commercial lender to come in and grow this in California, which is one of the biggest economies in the U.S. For me, it's huge. So that's why
No, it is. Yeah.
it's a big challenge, first of all, right? And then second of all, it's a Hispanic company, right? That's trying to help people in the community, especially the Spanish-speaking clients, because they ask me, "Do you speak Spanish?" And the first thing that they asked me when I interviewed, they talked to me in Spanish. It's like,
Oh.
"Hola, buenos días." I'm like, And I answered in Spanish, right? I was like, damn, I think this was a test, right? But you know, it's huge because what we're trying to do is help businesses, especially in the underserved communities, right? There's different programs that we could do to actually help these businesses not only get a loan, but expand that business, right? And the goal is to, like Val said, if you're walking into the bank, it doesn't mean that you don't qualify. It's maybe you're being underserved, right? Especially, let's say, if you don't understand what it is, right? If you get somebody to, hey, you let's say there's clients that speak English, right? But their first language is Spanish, right? And if you don't speak their language, sometimes they don't understand or they don't do what they're supposed to do. If you speak to them in their language, they're like, oh, you know what? That bank never told me that. Or I never was informed of that, right? So it is just maybe you're walking into the wrong place because different lenders have different credit boxes, right? What we call. And we have a huge credit box when we're being very flexible on what we could do for the community.
Now, I wanted to add, and this is because, of course, I have insider information of knowing him, but Joaquin is also very involved in the community as well. He's done workshops. We've actually collaborated in different workshops as well. Just being able to educate the community of, hey, these are some of the things that you need to do. Like, for example, we did something around the 6 C's of credit and the programs that he has available. So how to get you ready so you are bankable and be able to get approved through the bank, major banks, right? So such as JP Morgan Chase, U.S. Bank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and so forth. But yes, so he's talking about what Chicanos por la Casa is doing, but also it goes in line to what he's doing for the community as well. So don't cut yourself short because you're out there as well.
And it's true. I mean, for me, it's key that, with workshops she's done and, to answer a simple question for clients, right? They're completely confused on the topic, and I'll give some of my information to them, right, from what I know. Right, and then clients are like, "Oh, yeah," and they'll keep asking questions, and that's big because even though, let's say, I don't do a loan for them, they walk away with some knowledge. And say, maybe use that for their business.
Yeah,
right?
with some great information.
Yeah,
because some of them are not prepared, like you said. I think you said this before a while ago when we had you on the show a long time ago. You said that a lot of people just walk into the bank, a lot of Hispanics, and say, "I need $1 million."
Yeah.
But they're not ready for it. They're not prepared. They don't have a mission statement. They don't have anything. Where's the money? What are you using it for? They're just not prepared. So, and then we feel that we're just getting hit of like, oh, they just don't like me. No, it's, you got to be prepared as well. When you go, even like what you do, you said you're preparing them because even when they come to you, they got to have some type of mission statement or something that they, on paper, what they're doing and what they're going to do with the money.
Right. And a lot of people don't know that, right? From my experience in dealing with business owners, a lot of them just jump into it, right? And then go because they do what they know.
Yeah, they use their own money, and then it's gone, and then they're like,
and their business could be great, and they could be making a lot of money, but if they don't know, where to put it, how to invest it, how to really organize their books, because that's not what they know. They just know how to make that, maybe the delicious food or garments or whatever, but they don't really understand, like, the most important part is the how to organize your business so that you could be ready, for when something happens, because you might run out of money,
Yeah, and I mean, and I feel as a Latino, I mean, we're very unorganized. I feel like I could be.
You can say it. We say it a lot.
I'm a scatterbrain. Let me tell you.
Yeah, me too.
I'm that A personality, right? I'm go, sell, do all that stuff. But when it comes to paperwork, man, I have to sit there, and it takes time, and that's something
I get a headache.
I do too.
And because you know what, a lot of us that run businesses, we're busy taking care of other things, and we just never really see the importance of it.
Right.
And that is the truth. I mean, and that's just, we're hard workers.
Yeah,
we're hard workers.
and I think it's part of our background, right? Our parents are like, "Tienes que trabajar fuerte. You have to work hard, and that's what's gonna make you money, right?" And that's, and I get that from my dad all the time. I was like, "Are you really working?" I said, "Yeah, Dad, I'm working." But because they're so used to, like, oh, you have to go out there early, work
the labor
hard,
work,
yeah. And I said, no, it's different. And but I go, there's days that it's like they're calling me at home, like it's 8-9 o'clock. What are you doing? I'm working. Like, oh,
I can relate to that because my dad did the same thing too. He's a mechanic,
right?
And and ever since I started working, I've always worked on designing, graphic designing, computer, and so he would be like, "You're not a man. I'm a man. Look at, I smell like grease, and I go, no, it's just you're not educated. I told my dad, you're not educated. I'm using my head more than you are. I go,
Wow, that's harsh.
well, because he told me I'm not a man.
To your brother.
Well, he told me I wasn't a man.
Try telling that to my mom or dad.
Well, he told me I wasn't a man. Yeah, you're not a man. This is work. You're like you said, in front of a computer. Like, dude, well, I am working. I'm using I am literally using my brain. Not that I'm smarter, but I'm using more of this than I am this.
But see, that's the thing when it comes to business owners, right? And that's kind of one of the things that I try to tell them is you're good at what you're good at, but also know when to get help and seek for help, right?
Yes.
So one of the things is work with your accountant. You shouldn't just do a meeting with your accountant once a year when you are ready to file your taxes. You should be meeting strategically with your accountant to plan for the future. And if you're not good at accounting, obviously go get an accountant that's going to help you through it, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of businesses fail is not seeking help when they need it or having the right resources or investigating appropriately, especially in the industry that they're in.
No, that's important. And I really love the Hispanic community. Myself too, when I started communicating when I worked for the Chamber of Commerce, I had to go out there and talk to people, and I found out that westcovina, there was just so many people that only just spoke Spanish, and I loved it because we really did grow because of the fact that I spoke Spanish, and I was able to communicate with them better because they really, Chambers of Commerce in Mexico, Cámaras de Comercio, they're huge. They play a huge role in the business community. I know that because of my dad. He lives in Mexico, he's in radio, and so he's always, no, la Cámara de Comercio, la Cámara de Comercio, la Cámara de Comercio.
Yeah.
So I started finding out a lot of information from my dad, and I was relating it back to, our businesses here in the community, and it was like they were interested. I almost thought it was like the mafia or something. It felt like it, because they want to join, but now they want to know what do you guys have to offer me. So I was able to explain in Spanish. So speaking two languages really, really does play a huge role in what we do.
It does. Like I mentioned before, even though for a business owner that's fluent in English, but their first language is Spanish, you speak to them in their language, it feels like an ease, and they'll open up a little more to you because this is my people, right? And they'll open up, right? And a lot of the stuff when I do is I love to teach people and show them something, right? Because at the end of the day, these people appreciate it, and if they don't do business with me, somebody they know, because that's how it
call
is.
you.
Call me, hey.
Yeah.
I get calls all the time. Hey, Joaquin, can you help me with this? I'm like, yeah, sure. It's like, how did you hear from me? I was like, so and so, he has a business, and I do business with them, and he told me to call you, right? And it could have been from a simple conversation I had with them, a simple question that I answered or guided him. Because part of what I do too is I connect myself with a lot of people that could help in that same industry, right? So people that do accounting, right, or business plans, right, or projections, all that stuff that is key to get a loan. I try to embrace myself with those people because I'm not going to do all that stuff, right? And that's not my area of expertise. But I want to, if there's someone that needs that help, like, hey, call so and so, they'll take care of it.
Yeah, you become very resourceful.
You know what, Joaquin? Right now, you're talking a little bit about, I guess, the process and maybe some of the challenges of certain documentation that you may have to gather. Right. Tell me a little bit about what are some things that the business owner will have to gather to be able to do a loan with Chicanos por la Casa.
Right. So the main thing that you would need, obviously, tax returns, right? And this is kind of like the average of most places where you go. It's 3 years of tax returns, right? So like, for example, right now, there's flexibility, right? Because you could be on extension, right? So for example, it'll be the last 3 years filed tax returns, right? Income statements, right? So which means is whatever your accountant gives you of the accounting that you have up to date for the year, right? For this current year. And then a financial statement, which shows what you have in your bank accounts, what you own, right? Investments, right? And then your personal tax returns, 3 years of tax returns.
So let me ask you this. So let's just say that I started a year and a half ago and I only have 1 year of tax return. Is that something that you'd be able to help me with?
Yeah, so it's we're very open because we even do we go as far as doing startups, right? So we can, right? So let's say you've only been in business a year and a half, even 2, right? We can. It just depends on where your trend is going, right? And we do stuff that called projections, right? So the projections is what's your goal that you're going to do in the next 2-3 years, right? That helps you qualify for it, right? So yes, we can do something that has less than 2 years or 3 years. We could help them out in that aspect.
Now, let's just say I'm good at what I do, but I don't know how to do projections. At that point, what would I do?
So, like I said, I have people that I could refer you to, right, that I've dealt with in the past, right? Or even your accountant or CPA might be able to do it
Right.
because they know your numbers firsthand, right? Ideally, if they know how to do it, that's what you should go to because they know what your trends are. You know where your expenses are at, right? That's a person you talk to all the time and say, hey, look, this is where I'm at. I'm getting new jobs. So they know where your trends are at, right? So that's the best person to actually ask for. But if they don't do it, I'm always happy to help somebody and say, hey, look, talk to this person. They're experts in this stuff, right? Because there's people that are that's all they do, and they know the type of loans that you're applying for, so they know how to tell you, hey, look, this is what you have to be. This is where the trend where you have to be at. And sometimes reality kicks in, right? They're like, hey, those numbers are way too far from where you should be. Maybe you look for a smaller property or a smaller loan, right? And that's what you want to hear, right? You don't want to be like, hey, you're gonna create these numbers and get this big loan, right? And once 2-3 months into it, it's like, damn, I can't pay the mortgage anymore, right? You don't want that.
So is this only for corporations? Is this
No.
lending for sole proprietorships? What?
So at any point of your business, right, whether you're a sole proprietor to a corporation that has 100 employees, right, or more, right, anybody could apply for it. As long as you're in business, right, and you're trying to get into the business or you've been in business for 30 years, it's for everyone. It's not, and then I know a lot of people that are misinformed think, oh, well, I don't have a corporation, I can get a commercial loan, right?
Yeah.
And that's the first thing that they don't know, right? So no, it could be for anybody, right, that wants to. Let's say you have a landscaper that's expanding and they need a small warehouse, right, or to keep everything. It's
true, yeah.
They could apply for it.
What
I
if
like
they
that.
have negative numbers?
Right, so it all depends why they have negative numbers, right? So it's all depends on where everything's at. For example, there's when we look at the financials, right? There could be stuff that, so for example, rents or stuff that you could add back because let's say you pay $5,000 in rent, right? That number goes back because you're not going to rent anymore, right? You're going to go into a property that you're going to maybe pay $7,000-8,000 a month, right? But that $5,000 gets added back because you're no longer going to be paying that. And negative numbers could also be like, hey, Joaquin, my business expanding, I just wasted $300,000 in equipment and investing back into my business, right? That's
True.
why my numbers
That's why
are
it's negative, yeah.
right? So there's always a story to everything, right? I mean, not everyone could do it, right? Even though your numbers are negative, if there's a fair reason why your numbers are negative, then you could still qualify. Right, and we do the projections as well. So let's say if you're not where you're supposed to be at, projections also help you because if your trend's going to change, so let's say, hey, Joaquin, I just got a government contract that's going to pay me $300,000 for the next 2-3 years or 10 years, right? So those projections could be added onto that, and those numbers are going to completely change. Let's say you're negative, but there's guaranteed contract that you're going to get, right? That's only one job, right? That is going to change your business. Right, then you could qualify because I need a bigger spot, or
You need a bigger spot to facilitate the money, and then and you guys see it like, oh,
yeah. There's always stories to everything, right?
Yeah.
So when people ask me like, hey, what do you want to look at, or who do you want me to refer to you, or is this client? I said, look, just tell everybody to call me, because every story is different. Like every business is different from one to the next, right? Everyone's story is different, so it's always better to take a look at it and see, hey, tell the client, look. You can't, this is why, right? Maybe change this in the next 6 months, a year, we revisit it, and we could do something, right? Or it could be somebody that's overqualified, right? It just varies, right, when it comes to that.
So Joaquin, tell me a little bit about your minimum loan amount to maybe your highest loan amount that you can actually do.
Myself, I focus at the smallest loans that I focus on maybe is about $300,000 and above. But my team will take in their focus is smaller stuff as well. So we could do smallest about maybe 5,000 to 10,000 micro loans, right? I don't focus on those, but my team does, right? And they could intake all that stuff. And The reason why they brought me in California is to intake the bigger stuff into the market, right? Which is that's where my area of expertise is, right? So for the past mainly 10 years, I've been focusing on commercial real estate, right? For the past 10 years, and that's what's been my bread and butter for the past 10 years. So that's why they brought me in to focus on this stuff. Doesn't mean that I won't help a client, right?
You'll still direct them.
Yeah, guide them the right way, right? If I'm the main contact here, I could help a client. So I'll still take a call for a client, tell them, hey, look, this is what it is. This is our person that's taking care of you. But yeah, we could do up to like about $5,000-$10,000 all the way. You know, the sky's the limit, I guess you could say, right?
No, and I love the fact that, you know, because see, someone like myself, like, you know, just speaking for myself, I know we do this together and stuff, but, you know, when you start saying, you know, your projections, you're this, because I did have a sole proprietor, you know, doing podcasting, you know, and yes, I get sponsors and stuff, and sometimes, you know, yeah, you want to bridge out and get more equipment, and then if I want to go get a loan, and you're telling me you need projections, you need this, I'm more of a visionary type guy, so to do that type of stuff to me is like, well, it's never going to happen then, because I don't know how to do that. But like how you say, but you have people that can help and stuff, because it gets scary. Like when it says that, it hurts my head. Like, yeah, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
And knowing firsthand, right, that I've referred clients over to Joaquin, it's kind of what all lenders, they all get pretty much the same training, right? But then it's also going above and beyond, right? And how much you love your job. So the great thing about Joaquin is if my client is lost, it's like, hey, you know, go back to Valerie and she can help you with X, Y, and Z, or go back to Monica and maybe she can help you with whatever it is, right? But also referring them to where they need to be, where they need to get the information done. So for example, projections, that could be a headache for you because you're not familiar with it. But then he goes out of his way to actually refer you to somebody that's going to help you with that, which is amazing. Not everybody does that.
That's amazing. I love it.
I just have a question, and I don't know, maybe I'm not fully understanding, and I apologize for that. But if somebody's going to qualify through your services for $300,000, why wouldn't they qualify through a regular bank?
So it could be the structure of the business, right? Or it could be, for example, when I mentioned the projection stuff, right? It could be that they're not where they're supposed to be at right now, but these $300,000 is going to make it to where they should be, right?
Oh, I'm applying with you today.
Guys, can we cut this, guys?
Right. So that's what makes it. That's what makes a difference, right?
Well, it takes money to make money, right?
It
That's
does.
Exactly. It's like,
Exactly.
It
I
does.
always ask,
And that's very refreshing to hear, actually.
I always ask my
Your
clients,
Lord
like,
sent.
what is it if you do get this money, what is it going to do positively for your business?
Yes.
Like, where are you going to be at? And one of the things of one of my clients, he was kind of one of those clients, and if he's listening, then it's okay because I've told him in his face. But he's like one of those, like, he knows it all, right? And he's like, no, I don't need to look at my business plan. I'm like, well, you should, because on your business plan, it'll probably tell you how much you're spending for certain things. But what if you go buy something that it'll reduce your costs? And so this client ended up telling, he's in construction business. So he said, if I go ahead and buy a water truck for $100,000, I need $100,000 from you, I will be able to increase my bottom line to $150,000. So he was actually, by purchasing this water truck, it was going to reduce the amount of money that he was doing per project each year, because I think each time he rented the water truck was about $20,000.
Wow.
So he knew his numbers, and he's like, so I mean, it was a no-brainer. You know, not only was he already profitable, but he was going to increase his bottom line for like $150,000. Like, that's huge.
Wow.
So knowing that information and giving that information to the lender of like, this is what it's going to do, it's like storytelling and kind of selling it to the underwriter too, right? Of this is what it's going to do.
Yeah.
I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's another part of it too, right? Selling that stuff to the underwriter too. And clients, some of the stuff that they don't understand is, even though you're getting a loan, right, and we're not used to that, getting a loan, that helps out at the end of the day too, because all that interest you're paying, you write it off, right? It adds more to your pocket, right? People don't see it that way, right? Even though you are getting a loan, you're paying stuff, but in the business, you could write off almost everything, right? So especially like you're paying $30,000 a year, right, in interest, per se, you get that write that off on your profits.
Oh.
Right? Because that's money back in your pocket. Even though when you're paying rent, that money just goes away. You could write off rents, right? But you're not owning anything, right?
That's
So-
right. That's right. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, this is a great conversation. Man, I like this guy. And it's
said that
crazy.
last week, too.
No, but it's crazy.
You guys like put me up here, and then it's like,
No, I put you there. They brought you down.
yeah, wow.
I
I
thought
like
she
to
was
bring
your
my
friend.
friends back to earth.
Bring me back to reality.
But I met you a couple of times. I just didn't know what you did. Yeah, and we thought like maybe okay, maybe some type of banking or something.
Right.
And yeah, you're somewhat in it, but I mean, just to know that now I know why. Val, because you have a great personality as well, and I love the fact that you like to help the community, and just us talking off camera and having a good time. I mean, man, you know what? We could just let them go. We could go hang out if you want to hang out. You know
No, but
what?
I
We're
also,
good, Joaquin.
but I also want to say, I also
You
want to
guys
say
can't
that
be-
I love what Chicanos por la Causa. I
Yes.
read, the mission statement, how it got started, all the things that you guys do as for different communities that are underserved, and just students, and because I'm very passionate about the younger generation as well, and just everything that you guys do for families too. It's unbelievable.
Yes, you guys do a lot of
It's
stuff.
unbelievable.
Like,
and
for example,
it's beautiful to see.
It is, and when I went out there to the corporate office in April, right, and checked them out, I was like, wow, it's like I knew that they give back to the community, but when I was there, I was like, oh wow, this is bigger than what I thought, right?
Wow, yeah.
And I'm proud to represent a company that is, mission driven like that, right? And it's big, but to actually see what the operations are, what they really do, it's huge, right? And I love doing the lending stuff, right, for them on the préstamo side, but it's even bigger what they're doing there, right? And helping build for the community, right? So I love that advocacy for them, right? And what the company does. So I'm proud to say that I represent a company like that.
Well, we're very proud to to be speaking to you right now and letting the community know that this exists, because even I would never even think
Right.
and to see the people that where this stemmed from, Cesar Chavez, and Dolores Huerta, that's huge.
It is.
Yeah,
So-
when we're doing our research, she goes, "Oh, this is big. This is big, Jr." When she last said that, she knows it. That's when
is.
you know it's true. When she last
Yeah,
said it.
you know what? And when I was there and they were speaking to me about it, I was like, wow, that's huge,
yeah,
right?
it's huge, man.
It's a proud moment, especially now, right? That I'm part of something like that.
Yeah, especially what's going on right now. It's a proud
thank
moment.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Any
thank you
last
so
words
much.
or any
I
other
just-
questions?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for making it out here and sharing
Yes.
your cause and letting everybody, the audience, know of. Just because you go to a bank and you get declined doesn't mean that that's the end. There is still help. So, thank
Yeah.
you for empowering the business owners out there.
No.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for inviting
Yes.
me. I had a great time, and we're meeting a new best friend here. Sorry.
I know. Hey, yes.
Hey, that's what you said last week too.
Yeah.
No, I did not.
And how can people find you?
Yes.
How can they communicate
Yeah.
with you?
So I have a social media page, right, that I don't promote as often, right?
Aw, man.
But I am. I'm gonna start promoting a little more. I could share my email address
Yeah,
with
sure,
you guys, right? So it's Joaquin Barba, JOAQUIN Barba BARBA at cplc.org, or my phone number 562-518-4550.
The ladies are gonna be calling.
Hey, are you single? Are you single?
I am.
Oh, whoa. Let's connect now. After dark, guys. With Joaquin Barba.
Y aparte de eso, habla español.
Sí, claro, sí hablo español. Sí.
Last time our last guest that we had, it was Dan, and I said something about his accent, and he was like anyway.
Oh no! Don't cut it off there.
He knows Dan.
Yeah, I know that.
I'm not promoting anything, but
Did
no.
this
but thank
become
you
a
so
dating
much.
site?
I know.
I know. I was like, wait.
Let's connect now. Another version of it.
Wow. Yeah.
No, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. If you guys want more information, please reach out to Joaquin, Valerie. They have a lot of information. I mean, that's why they're here.
Even to us, because we'll be able to give out their information as well.
Yeah, reach out to us. We'll give out the information. But don't forget, it's going to be every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Let's connect now. Your business
Resource.
resource. I love it, man. I'll see you guys next week.